Hello, my name is Hannah Hurdle. I'm the Library eLearning Specialist at Ottenheimer Library. And in this video, I'm going to be going over how to evaluate and examine online sources for credibility and trustworthiness. So by the end of this asynchronous video, you should be able to analyze specific parts of online sources in order to break down their different components, as well as examine and evaluate online sources in order to determine their reliability and trustworthiness. So the outline for this class, I'm going to go over briefly some definitions to just make sure everyone's on the same page and are familiar with certain terms. Then we'll look at how to find trustworthy sources online, and I'll do a walkthrough going over a website. Then I'll talk about the evaluating resources activity that's linked in the supplemental content for this video that you don't have to do, but it helps you practice what's going to be discussed in this video. Then there are some discussion/debriefing questions just for you to consider. And I'll also have my contact information at the end of this video as well. So definitions. Research is looking for information on a topic that will help you prove a claim. Evidence is anything that can be used to support your research question. And sources are articles of other kind of information that you consult or cite in your final project, paper, assignment, etc. So trustworthy or reliable sources. How do we determine if something online is trustworthy or reliable? Well, you can think about authority, expertise, and experience. Who is the author of the article that you're looking at? Are they an expert in their field? So are they, if you're looking at some kind of science, something like science online, or science, or you're in the science or looking something science related. Are they a doctor? Are they a researcher? Are they a scientist? What are their credentials? Where do they work? Do they work at a university? Do they work in some kind of research facility? Who is their audience? Who are they speaking to? Are they looking, is the article directed at the general public, at other experts in the field, special interest groups, etc.? Is there any kind of references or bibliography at the end of the article? Do they include sources? Do they have citations? Things like that. Think about who created the source. Who is the publication that this person is writing for? Who is the publisher? You should Google publication names to see what others have to say about the site itself. So say you're looking at Vice Magazine online. What do other people have to say about Vice? What other people have to say about the Washington Post, CNN, things like that. And then what does the site or the author of the article have to say about themselves? You could look at the about page. You could see if they have their own website. This would be the author of the article, things like that. Then look at relevance and currency. Is there a date on the article? Is this something from this year, 2022, or is it from 1990? Is there a creation date for the site? When was the site created? How long have they been publishing? And then how recent is the source, and does that matter? So say again, if the article ends up being from 1990, but you need history on your topic. So say robotics. If you're looking for history, then that's a good source. But if you're looking for something, what people currently think about the topic of robotics, something from 1990 isn't going to be very helpful. And then think about trustworthiness. Are there links in the article? Do they work? So these would be other sources that they've linked to. Do those links work? And then what are they linking to? Think about who they're trying to reach. Is this a news story? Is it an editorial, or is it an opinion piece? What is the purpose of the source? What are they trying to do? Are they trying to educate, provide factual information, influence you, sell you something, or just tell you something? Has the source been reviewed by scholars in the field for accuracy and credibility? So is it peer reviewed? And then look at, does the site end in a .com, a .org, a .gov, or a .edu? All of these are things that can help you determine if a source or a publication or a site, a website is trustworthy and reliable. I'm going to get out of this PowerPoint. Let's go. So here I'm looking at history.com, and I have this article that I've pulled up. See stunning photos of King Tut's tomb. So let's just think about some of the things that I mentioned. So we have history.com, so we know that it's a .com. We can see, so they have who the author is. It's a Sarah Pruitt. We can see that this was originally published in January 30th, 2019, and then was updated in September 23rd of 2019. We can see that there are links in this story. So let's click on some of them and see if they still work. So see, this link that they sent to Desert News doesn't work. See if some of the other links work. So this link to this YouTube video does work, and this is from the Getty Conservation Institute. So that appears to be a reputable source. So let's see about some of the other things that we're considering. This article appears to just be sharing information. This could be for people, this could be something that a historian would be interested in, or just a special interest group, a general audience. See, it'll let us, you can't click on the author's name there. Okay, so it does take us to the author. So it says Sarah Pruitt is a writer and editor based in New Hampshire. She's a contributor to history.com and is author of Breaking History, Vanish. She's author of a book. You can see other articles that she's written. So let's, one thing you could do is just look up the author of this article. So we see she's linked to history. We can see that she does have her own website. We're going to see if this is the same Sarah Pruitt. Let's go to About. Sarah Pruitt. Check out my writing portfolio. So this is the same, it's Vanish, it's the same author. So she does have her own website. You can learn a little bit more about her. You can view her portfolio to see if her credentials. So she does seem to be reputable in her field. For history.com, let's go back. So we can see history. Let's consider history. I'm not seeing an about page that just comes up easily. We can do, so here's articles from editors. Let's see. So we've considered some of the questions that I went over earlier when looking at this source, because I don't see, you can go down, I don't see an About Us page down here. So I don't have seen a readily available About Us page. So let's go back to PowerPoint. So like I mentioned, there is now that we've gone over and evaluated a website and just considered some of the things that I mentioned, there is a Google form, and I'll show you that in a second what it looks like, but you can go through the articles on the Google form, use the prompts at the top of the form, which are the things that I went over earlier, to help you determine if the site, or the publication of the article is trustworthy or reliable. You're going to decide if the article is trustworthy or reliable. and then you'll include your findings at the bottom, and then you submit it. So let me, once again, stop sharing the PowerPoint, and I'll pull this over here. So here is the form. And so we have our articles. There's links to the articles. You determine if it's credible or not credible. And there are 4 articles in total. And then you include your findings down here at the bottom, and then you can submit it. So this is the Google form. So let me pull the PowerPoint up one more time. So here are those discussion and debriefing questions. So these are just things you can consider. So what new things did you learn and discover when we go over the Google form by yourself or with other students? Do you feel you have developed skills to determine if a source is reliable or trustworthy? Why or why not? Do you feel more prepared to examine and evaluate sources online? So this is just like a basic starting out of just thinking about how to evaluate and examine online sources. This is an extensive review of how to do it. This is just a starting point to just start thinking about it. And then here is my contact information, as well as another librarian at UALR and Ottenheimer Library. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And I hope you found this video to be helpful.